Welcome, everyone. This is Train for Engagement and Transformation, a special training webinar for people just like you who want to be a highly paid and impactful trainer. Now, my name is Deb Ingino, and I want to first thank you in advance for really investing in your own success by implementing what you're going to learn today. I'm going to teach you how to train for engagement and transformation by using 3 keys that will help you to become a highly paid and impactful trainer. Now, before we even jump in, you should know that there's a special gift that will be waiting for you later in this training. Now, I promise it's going to definitely be worthwhile hanging out until the end, especially if you want to build the ultimate business model for either training, speaking, or coaching. I promise you're going to find this gift to be very valuable. Well, you'll see what I mean at the end of today's program. Now, as I get our agenda going here in just a moment, we will be talking about for the next 30 minutes or so. And you may have some questions. The great news is I have a team of people right now on this training webinar just waiting to answer any questions you might have. So feel free to jump right into the chat box and put your question right in there. All right, now let's dig into the agenda. Here's what you will take away today. First of all, you will learn insider pro trainer tips to quickly establish trust and create a powerful space for personal and organizational transformation. You'll hear how to create an experience rather than just a training session as I share engagement strategies that make training fun and impactful. You'll also learn how to, make it more of an experience, one that will actually lead to an opportunity for personal and organizational breakthroughs and really innovations that are scalable. Now, here's what's interesting. You will find that learning these skills will not only make you a better trainer, but frankly, they will make you a highly sought-after trainer, thus making you much more valuable and with the potential to charge higher fees. Today, organizations are looking for so much more than just a trainer. They're looking for an expert, and they want an expert who knows how to help people transform in some way through the skill of training. Now, when you and I demonstrate that you are, in fact, the expert that they have been looking for, you will set yourself up for success, and you will find it easier to charge what you are worth and garner higher fees. Now, even before we dive into this transformational information that I am sure will change your life, well, I know that because it changed mine, I would like to share with you the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program as well. In fact, if you want a sneak peek right now, you can just go to train.leadwithjohn.com. That's train.leadwithjohn.com. And I'll tell you, you can go ahead and check that out, and today you're going to get plenty of content that you can actually use right away. Now, much of this content, folks, it's just the tip of the iceberg of what you get when you enroll in this transformational certification program designed for people just like you. Now, I also want to put it right out there that as we get going, you will have an opportunity at the end of today's training webinar to ask some very specific questions about the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program. And our program advisors are always happy, to answer your questions afterwards, either by email or phone or, like I said, right here, even in the chat box. So let's get started. Let's focus on how you can up-level your training and set the stage for engagement and transformation, focusing on insider pro trainer tips to quickly establish that trust and create a powerful space for personal and organizational transformation. Now, when you want your attendees to go all in and really participate at a high level, one key essential is creating what we call an optimal learning environment. And that begins with understanding the adult learner as you work to establish trust and create like a safe space for exploration, reflection, and learning. Now, here's what's interesting. Adults can actually learn best when they can associate new information that they're learning with information or process that they already know. So when they can take something new and add it to something they already know and marry those two together, well, I'll tell you, that deepens adult learning. Adults usually want to use what they've learned right away, very quickly after they've learned it. So the ability to apply what they've learned is actually one of the keys. Now, adult learners love to solve problems too. They don't want to just learn facts. I mean, let's face it, they could read a book to learn a fact. But they love solving problems, and they are more motivated to learn when they help set the learning objectives themselves too. Now, another key is that adult learners like to be part of that learning process by contributing their own experience and what they know. And finally, they like to know how they're doing during the training, so they want to use that feedback to evaluate their own progress right there in your training session. Now, Robert W. Pike is an internationally recognized expert in the field of human resources and development, and he's the author of the book, Creative Training Techniques, and he's conducted thousands of adult learning seminars. Now, his principles of adult learning are referred to Pikes Laws of adult learning. Now, let's take a look at his 4 important laws. Law number 1. Adults are like big babies, just with bigger bodies. I mean, just like babies, they enjoy learning through experience. So if you've ever witnessed a child as they're sort of learning to crawl or walk, you will see they're touching all these different things as they're moving along. That's because they're discovering something new. And they're learning through the touching of things, through that exploration. It's learning through the experience of discovery. Law number 2. People do not at all argue with their own data. Well, they'll argue with your data, but they will not argue with their own data. Therefore, people are more likely to believe something if they arrive at that idea themselves. So instead of giving adults information to remember, present them with structured learning activities that allow them to explore ideas and discover meaning on their own. Law number 3 is learning is directly proportional to the amount of fun you're actually having. I mean, it really is. People learn best when it's an emotionally charged, fun experience. That's why some of the recommendations we make on icebreakers and exercises are included today. They underscore a teaching point, but it also keeps that environment fun. And law number 4, and this is so important, folks, learning has not taken place until the behavior has actually changed. You see, it's not what we know, but it's what we do that really counts. And the ability to apply new material is a good measure of whether or not learning has actually taken place. Now, your role as a trainer is to create an optimal learning environment that, first of all, allows your participants to assume responsibility for their learning. It encourages them to be active participants in that learning process and facilitates and supports their discovery of personal meaning of ideas and concepts. And it provides this safe space where they can explore, reflect, even make mistakes, and learn through them. Now, going back to that point of facilitating and supporting their own discovery of personal meaning of ideas and concepts, I remember leading this communication training. And we were going through an exercise of communicating by using the style that would sort of resonate with the person they were looking to communicate effectively with. In that exercise, we began to discover someone's style, and just then one of the participants jumped out of his chair and said, "Oh no!" I thought, "Oh my, is everything okay?" And he said, "Yes, but I just realized right now that I've been communicating with my son using the completely wrong approach all his life. And now I see why we've had difficulty communicating." Now, sure, this gentleman was there for a workplace communication workshop, but having that personal aha moment was very impactful for him. He was then able to see it more clearly in the workplace too. Now, another advantage and strategy that we can use for creating a fun and engaging learning experience is to use activities and assessments that provide the trainer with space for self-reflection and an opportunity to become more self-aware for each participant. One of the tools I've used for this is the Maxwell report. This report raises the awareness of the participant by highlighting for them their own individual communication style, their strengths, what motivates them, and the environment where they can do their best work. Now, there's a significant advantage for you as a trainer, too. You see, by having participants answer a few questions online, you receive a profile for each participant in your session, and you will know more about them than some people have known them for their whole life. It really does provide you and I with an opportunity even to modify our approach as a trainer. You see, we can no longer walk in the room to train the room, but we walk in and can easily connect with individual participants. And you know how to create an experience based on how each individual in that room is wired. This is a big advantage for your participants as well as you. Now, let's talk about some other ways you can increase engagement and transformation. One way is to use icebreakers. Make those participants more comfortable in sharing right off the bat. Some proven methods of breaking the ice or, sort of using a table exercise where they get to share with a smaller group before engaging with the larger group. So, for example, if you're in a large training room and you have people at different tables all around that room, let them share at their table first so they sort of warm up to the people in their immediate vicinity, and then have them start to share with the larger group. Another method is that show of hands method, right? By a show of hands, how many people are attending today's training, during your lunch break? In most video conference platforms, if participants are on camera, they can do it the traditional way. Or if on a platform where the participants are maybe not on camera, most platforms today have a feature where they can raise a digital hand. Now, that show of hands method makes it a little less intimidating for people, and they can participate and not feel like they're risking too much. All they have to do is raise their hand, right? The next is the voluntary share method. When one participant contributes their story or shares their own experience, that makes it easier for others to kind of do the same. They're the trailblazers, right? Now, in fact, by using our Maxwell report that I mentioned a few moments ago, you actually will know who your outgoing personalities are so you can invite them to share first. This allows you and I as trainers to avoid that awkward silence when you ask for volunteers and no one responds. Another is using, tools like creating conversations through polls, breakout rooms. They are very helpful for people. In fact, I'll tell you a recent example was, since more people today are learning through video conferencing than ever before, just like really what we're doing right now, think about it. The use of polls and breakout rooms allow you to bring people in, break the ice in a way that helps them to feel comfortable. Use prompts, for example, that maybe inspire engagement, such as, who remembers their first day, on the job, right? Or for the company you're working right now, or, what was your earliest memory of great teamwork? See, use easy, simple ways to break the ice. Now, let's talk about some more information on how you can increase that engagement and transformation. One way is to tell a story. Tell a story to make a point kind of come to life. That is a great way. Another is to use what we call state changes to grab and keep their attention. Now, what I mean by a state change is if you're going from slide to slide to slide, then maybe go to a flip chart. And then maybe back to a slide, and then maybe it's just you speaking. Try to mix it up a bit, because that really helps people to learn. Then, maybe change that state from them just listening to you to maybe them discussing a topic. Now being with maybe a triad group of, 3 people together discussing a specific topic. What's very interesting is even a tonality shift in your voice can change the state. Another great state change is to go from sitting at the table to, all right, everybody's standing up. Let's go around the flip chart, right? And one of my favorite and one of my absolute favorites, this is not just a favorite, this is my absolute favorite, is to show short video clips. I mean, I love showing these videos. In fact, in the Maxwell Leadership Certification Program, we actually have some teaching videos and video clips that you can use to help emphasize a teaching point. Another great tool is to allow for a long silence before and after an important statement. You see, this allows participants to have a few seconds to process the point that you just made. Now, the next is to leverage the wisdom of the crowd. Ask participants to share their stories and their experiences. This, frankly, is one of the most powerful tools for the transformation occurs because both the learner who contributes their experience and the learners who are on the receiving end of it become much more engaged and invested together in this opportunity to grow. In fact, I remember a training workshop I was facilitating using our Maxwell leadership content on developing the leaders around you. I was brought in by the CEO of the company, and he participated in the training right alongside his team of leaders. Now, one of the questions I asked the group to discuss was to identify some of the characteristics they look for in selecting the right players to develop, sort of leveraging the wisdom of that crowd. One by one, each participant shared one quality, and then it was the CEO's turn. And he began to share with each of them individually what characteristic he saw in them that placed them in the role that they were in today. I have to tell you, that was a powerful moment right there in that room. You see, his wisdom and insight was really incredible, but here's what's interesting. It was a gift to every one of those participants. Now, in today's workplace, the number of people attending virtual meetings has, of course, skyrocketed. So it only makes sense that trainers need to also learn how to create transformational and engaging experiences for their virtual audience as well. Some of my favorite strategies for virtual engagement, I'd like to invite you to think about it for a moment. Go ahead, post right now in the chat box your own. What are your favorite engagement activities to do with people virtually? Let's sort of get the crowd's wisdom going right in our chat box. Now, let me share you some of mine. You've probably recognized what I just did. First of all, leveraging the wisdom of the crowd. When I asked you to engage in the chat box, when I asked you to share your experience, right? That's one. And well done, all of you who've put something in there. You see, I have found these particular strategies that I'm going to share very helpful and impactful, so let's unpack them. Now, the first is to send maybe each participant a virtual swag box. Swag, something we all get. Send your participants a thoughtful item that's related to the training event if possible. That's a great way to sort of get their sort of excitement going right off the bat. Another way is to add gamification to your training event. Make it a little bit of a competition, maybe a scavenger hunt or an escape training game or a digital game. In fact, one of the tools for engagement that I happen to use over and over again is what we call the Maxwell Leadership Game. That experience helps participants to share their own perspective around several important leadership topics, and it breaks down the barriers because, after all, everyone deserves to be led well. It doesn't matter if they're leading themselves or if they're leading other people. Another way is to add music or entertainment to your event. I have a training playlist of songs that, well, frankly, they inspire and motivate me, but it also does the same thing for the people in the room. It gets the energy going. I don't know, maybe hire a DJ during the break or a comedian, right? Something entertainment-wise to break it up, to add interest, add fun to that training event, even virtual ones. The other thing is, make your training as interactive as you possibly can. Give the learners an opportunity to participate in how the learning experience is shaped and conducted. Ask them, hey, do you want to do this activity or that activity? Let those participants speak into it. You see, when you use some of these strategies, you will create a more engaging and transformational learning environment that people will remember for months and years to come. Now, coming up, we're going to talk about how to create more than just a training session. We'll talk about how to deliver an experience that creates personal and organizational breakthroughs and innovations that are scalable. But even before we get to that, this is a good time for me to tell you a little bit about the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program and how it works and even what you'll get if you enroll today. Back in March 2011, after being an employee for more than 30 years, I was longing to own my own business. And I really wanted to be sort of like, free agent, right? So when I learned about the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program, I was intrigued. Well, at least intrigued enough to speak to a program advisor. And when I learned that this program would provide me with the mentors and the content that I could use as a trainer, well, I wanted to learn much more about that, and that the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program gave me the blueprint and the plan and the support. I was actually able to move from being an employee to owning my own business as an entrepreneur. Now, let me give you just a quick summary of the program. Here are the main reasons the certification program will boost your success and what you will discover in the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program. First, you'll be learning leadership principles based on the life and work of John C. Maxwell, the world's most influential leadership expert. Now, while John is the author of more than 80 books, if you have ever read his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, you know that John is the thought leader on leadership in the world today. You will have access to learn how to build a business training, even speaking and coaching with some of the best resources available in the industry. And you will have the world's leading expert faculty team and mentors who will guide you to higher levels of business growth and success. Now, in your Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Program, it's all about taking you step by step from zero, which is where I started, to really being a builder of your own business and even a builder of other people. It can grow as fast as you'd like, and you see, that's actually what I experienced in 2011. When I joined the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Program, it was very interesting. First, I got to learn entrepreneur training. I'd never been an entrepreneur before. We're going to provide you with unlimited access to your core curriculum for you to grow a business or grow people where maybe you're already employed. We'll teach you how to implement incredible trainings and masterminds and studies and lunch and learns that actually get results. You'll have access to professional worksheets, proposals, documents, presentations, all for instant use. We'll even give you scripts and PowerPoint training guides and teaching videos. You are going to have what I like to describe as a business in a box. You will have a step-by-step guide through the exact process of building a business where others will pay you to come in and bring transformation. We're going to teach you how to hone your skills as a speaker. You will learn how to structure perfect presentations with several key elements and how you can take your stories and customize our training content with your stories. There's so much more, actually. In fact, in our speakers course alone, you're going to have access to 7 fully scripted lunch and learn presentations. Now, maybe you don't like to use a script. You don't have to. But if you need one, it's there. You will also have complete, ready-to-go PowerPoint slide decks, speaker training videos and audio, and you will have the ability to be ready to take and use everything right out of the digital box, as they say. Then, through our 10-module video program, we're going to teach you how to use your material and how to use your stories and your experiences and marry them together. You'll have access to bonus lessons and virtual training session examples. You will have speakers, tools, and resources and lunch and learns. You're going to have learning guides, learning manuals. Now, the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Program also comes with coaching training as well. If you have ever wanted to be a coach, you will learn how to use coaching with individuals, but also group coaching. You see, after a training session, you will find oftentimes that coaching is a great next step. You'll have access to sample coaching questions that you can use with those, training sessions with your clients right now. We include complete, ready-to-go content, forms, contracts. We've got it all for you, folks. We have coaching and training videos and audio. And for those of you who are more visual learners, you are going to love learning here with our video coaching training. You will have access to content-rich coaching guides and manuals, because sometimes in coaching, there's a specific lesson that would be very impactful for your client. We have those too. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about this free gift I promised you. When you schedule your complimentary discovery call with a program advisor today, you will also receive the free gift to you called The Savvy Marketer's Guide to Turbocharging Business Profit. All you have to do is go to train.leadwithjohn.com right now and schedule a call with one of our program advisors and just get all of the details about this opportunity. And let's see if joining the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team is the right fit for you. Now, if you take advantage of the opportunity to speak with a program advisor about the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program, you will get access to the Savvy Marketer's Guide to Turbocharging Business Profit. This guide covers the secret weapons I've personally used to grow my own business at an insanely rapid rate. Now, with it, you will learn how deploying business game changers will give you a competitive advantage even in a very crowded marketplace. You will learn how content wins over salesmanship every time. You will learn how to build and utilize your list for greater profits, how to make more with less effort by really repurposing content you already have. You will learn how being a master of one instead of a jack of all trades will exponentially increase your success and so much more. Now, as trainers, you and I have an opportunity to create a learning experience that will help participants learn how to reframe both fear and failure into opportunities for learning and growth by creating that environment where they can practice and fail in a safe space. You see, we want people to show up and be ready to explore and grow and learn. They can become more engaged employees that way. They can play at the top of their game. That is true transformation for them as an individual, but also the collective impact on their organization or company is transformative. The goal is to make, failure feel less like failure and more like learning. One of my favorite books by John Maxwell is Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. It is a great resource on this topic. In facilitating a training workshop, I was covering, how oftentimes when we make a mistake and we fail, we can run the risk of maybe blowing up and sort of reacting with anger or blame or resentment. Or we could try to cover it up, protect our image. Maybe no one was paying attention that I made that mistake. Or we could back up, totally withdraw and distance ourselves from people who might have found out that we actually made a mistake. Or worse, we could give up, throw in the towel, throw up our hands and quit. We don't really address the mistake in a healthy way. We just sort of walk away. One participant in a workshop recently said, "Oh my goodness, I see myself in each of these." And she shared that in the past, she was so frustrated by the fact that she had difficulty moving on from her mistakes. Now, as a group, we started to discuss some of our greatest life lessons, and nearly 100% of what everyone shared was that their greatest life lesson came through some type of failure in the beginning. So that would mean if we eradicated failure, we would also be eradicating success. You see, in that moment, the group consensus was that failure is really merely a part of the cycle of success. It's exactly really what it is. If you think about it, it's test, fail, improve, re-enter. Test, fail, improve, re-enter. One more time. Test, fail, improve, re-enter. Now, I've shared with you some valuable strategies, and I believe it will help you to become a much better trainer. You know, for years, I've worked with trainers and speakers and coaches who want to increase their impact and their income. And based on my experience working with tens of thousands of people, from first-time business owners all the way through members with years and even decades of experience, there are 3 challenges that must be addressed in order to really build a highly profitable and successful training, speaking, or coaching business. Now, the first one is you must have high-value content to share and sell. This is such an important point. I mean, if people are going to invest their time and money coming to a training session that you're leading, the content has to be high quality, high value. So let me ask you a question. What if you had access to a treasure trove of valuable leadership content that you could use with clients and even in your own marketing? Well, that's exactly what you would have access to through the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program. Now, business challenge number 2, having a business blueprint model that works. And I will tell you, on my own, I did not have that in the beginning. I had been an employee for 30-something years. I didn't know how to start a business. But what if you had a proven blueprint that you could start using immediately to build and grow your own business? That, for me, folks, was a game changer. And I know it can be for you as well. Let's get to point number 3. This is the big business challenge, number 3, as I like to call it. Access to the right resources and the right people. In order for us to have access to the right resources and people, we have to go where they are. We have to learn to kind of leverage business tools that are needed to attract, close, and serve ideal clients. One of the challenges I personally had back then was that I had access to people, really smart people, and they were scattered all over, but none of them had been an actual trainer. See, those contacts were great people, but having a group of people that were focused exclusively on this business, on training, gosh, that is a big advantage. So what if you had access to a world-class team of mentors and faculty to help you address business challenges and increase your profits to help you maximize your time? Well, ladies and gentlemen, introducing again the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Program. Yeah, all of these items are very fixable, and if you work on them as part of the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, you will learn how to solve those challenges. Now listen, whether you decide this is the right time for us to explore what it could mean for you to become part of the Maxwell Leadership family, I want you to have this gift. I really do, because I know it's going to help you to skyrocket your own success. This training and engagement transformation tips webinar that I shared today, I know it's just a small part of what you would have access to as a Maxwell Leadership Certified trainer. And I want to encourage you, go to train.leadwithjohn.com. Learn more today how you can lead engaging and transformational training events. So that's train.leadwithjohn.com and schedule your complimentary discovery call with a program advisor right now, and you'll get that valuable gift that you can only get here. Now, in the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program, you'll be equipped to lead transformational training and coaching sessions, as well as how to be a speaker. One of the things, actually, I love to do at the close of any training session, I love it when everybody in the room, like, is there one nugget that you've learned today? So right now, go ahead in the chat box. What's one big takeaway for you today? What's one thing you learned today that you're now going to incorporate into your own training? Listen, having been an employee for so long and then sort of deciding to make that change to be an entrepreneur, that was a big jump for me. But I didn't do it alone, and you don't have to either. We are here to walk right alongside you every step of the way. So maybe it's time for you to discover, your own potential. So what if you were able to up-level the training in your company and increase engagement and transformation in the company you work for today? Well, you can do that with this program. And if you're already an entrepreneur out there training other companies, either part-time or full-time, you can add world-class content and engagement strategies that lead to transformation to set you apart in the marketplace. Now, if you aspire to have your own business where you can have a business in a box with world-class content, mentors, engagement strategies, and transformation that positions you as an expert in the marketplace with an upside earning potential, you can do that. Just speak to our program advisor. They'll share with you how. Now, as we close today, I want to thank you for investing time in learning how you can bring transformation and engagement to your training. I look forward to working with you in the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team Member Program to help you to move towards a better and more profitable future training. I wish you a transformational learning experience from here on in your training sessions. Thanks for joining us today.